Hey everyone, it's Keeping It Real, and I am Nikki Shelton, and I'm here today with Carrie Selby. Carrie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Coming to you from
Fabulous.
California.
I was gonna say you're in California. I'm in Nebraska, and thankfully, we have devices that we don't have to be in the same place at the same time, and we can still do what we do, right?
Exactly. That's what I love about my job.
Yes, yes. And so we are actually going to talk about bridging the gap, and we're going to get into that in just a second on what we mean by that. So hold on just a moment. All right. So, Carrie, we're talking bridge loans today, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
So, let's talk a little bit about, like the markets out there is still pretty competitive. I mean, there's still, you're getting multiple offers a lot of times. I mean, I know that I had a person call yesterday and was asking me about, um, whoops, there we go. I feel like I'm looking somewhere else. Anyway, but he was looking at possibly putting in an offer. He was looking at a property, and I called, and they had 5 offers already on. I mean, he just started, so not prepared. We're working on that. That's our next step. So there are those kind of offers, and a bridge loan could be a way to kind of put that off in your favor, especially if you still have to sell a home, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what it's put in place for.
Okay, so this is a good time to talk about it, and we're talking about bridging the gap. And what do you do when, you know, you're trying to get to be competitive and you have to sell a home, but you still need to do that. So let's go ahead, and I'll let Carrie take over from here and talk a little bit about her area again, and talk about bridging the gap and with the bridge loan. Go ahead, Carrie.
Well, a lot of people want to know, like, what exactly is a bridge loan and why would I need it? Well, Nikki kind of discussed it. It's basically a loan that you take against your property, and it makes it so that you can either utilize the equity from your property for the down payment. And a lot of people also use it. There's another product we can use where we can just get rid of that payment, because basically where the bridge loan is going to cover the cost of the home in case it doesn't sell in time. But basically it makes it so that you can negate the payment and not be contingent, which contingency means you put an offer on a home, but a lot of times if you have to sell your home, you would have to then wait for that home to sell before you could then close on the home you're putting an offer on. People don't want to wait for that sometimes. You don't know how quickly your current home is going to sell.
So the way I explain it to my buyers is, like every time you have a way out of a contract. So whether it be a home inspection, you have to sell your home first, you want to check out the neighborhood review. I mean, there's financing. I mean, all of those things are called contingencies. And so when you do your purchase and sale, unless it's like a cash offer and you're not going to do any type of feasibility or, any other thing to that, that's really the only time there's not going to be contingencies. Most people are going to have contingencies. It could be something as simple as, I just want to verify the square footage of the house. That could be a contingency. So anytime that there's anything that you're asking, the seller, like, hey, I want to check this out kind of thing first, that's a contingency. So this is definitely a contingency if you have to sell your home. Okay.
Right, right.
So let's go ahead and move forward. Okay. So how do they work?
So they are basically a loan that is given, and they guarantee that if your home doesn't sell, they'll basically purchase the home from you. So it's usually a typical loan is up to 12 months. The interest rates are often higher on these, though, and then they, of course, need to charge an administrative fee. So it does cost a little more to do one of these, but if you want to be competitive and you have extra funds within your budget of what you're selling your home for, this could be a good option. They use your home as collateral on these. So that's how they secure the home.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a higher. I mean, you have to qualify for it, obviously, right?
Right.
You have to. There's going to be a little bit more payment. You have a higher interest rate, but again, it's a short-term rate, from what I'm understanding, right? Because it's only going to be until you sell your house and put the money towards the payoff of your loan. So it's a shorter period. So there's some cons against it, right?
There are, and most of the time you don't make any payments. What they're doing is you're borrowing against the equity of your home. So the interest is accumulating over the time before you sell your home.
Okay,
So it makes it
perfect.
nice that you're not having an extra payment added.
Right. Okay. And I mean, could you just like borrow the amount and just say, hey, I'll pay it back when I sell the house and not have to like, so in other words, you're not adding more onto that amount. Can you do that, or do they automatically just not make you make payments? Just curious.
There are so many different products, and there's one for every type of thing. You can do one that you can pay the interest and do a loan right away, but then we have to count that in your debt to income ratios. So unless you are a very well qualified buyers with low debt to income ratios, that might not be a good fit.
Okay.
There are ones that you can do the no payment, but the interest gets paid out when you sell your home. And then there's also ones where if you don't have to borrow money for the down payment, but you just want to negate your current home payment because it would affect your debt to income ratios to have two house payments, there's also that type of product. So there's kind of a fit for everyone, which is really nice. They're really broadening the product and what you can get out of it.
Okay. And are you like, if you sign up for like, let's say 6 months, like let's say I know I'm gonna sell my house in 6 months. So I do a 6 months. Can you stop it earlier? Obviously,
Oh,
because I mean, okay,
yeah, there's
okay,
no prepayment. There's nothing like that on these types of loans. They just give you that much time because depending on the housing market and the price point of your home, especially if you're downsizing and you're going from like a $1 million home down to a $600,000 home, sometimes those higher priced homes are a little, harder to move quickly. So it's
hmm
just a way to ensure that you won't have to go contingent.
okay, perfect. I always have questions for Kerri because these are always such
I'm
a
always
fascinating
happy
thing to
to.
me.
Yeah, it's good because sometimes people will have the same questions. So,
Okay, so we're kind of talking about the types of bridge loans right now. So anything that we missed that we need to cover here?
not really. No, because there's just the differences in open end and a closed end. And the open end is the one where you have the longer period of time, and the closed end is the shorter period, often where you don't need the money, but you're just using that to offset your debt to income ratios.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about some of the cons. I mean, there's a little bit higher risk. Your interest is a little bit higher. What are some of the pros of this? I mean, the
Well, I
biggest one,
are
obviously, you don't have
this
to put
part.
on a contingent offer. That's probably one of the biggest ones because
Yeah.
it's going to help you in the house faster.
Yeah. And the other pro is definitely, like we talked about, offsetting your debt to income ratios by negating that payment. Because sometimes your income doesn't support two house payments. I mean, not many people can afford like $6,000 worth of mortgage payments to count against them. So,
Okay.
and
And
then you
then
have
some other
quick
things.
access to your funds.
Okay. And then another thing that it would probably be approved pretty easily, right? It's versus like going through the regular kind of approval process on some of these other loans. I mean, since you've already have equity in your home, I mean, I would think that'd be a little bit faster. Is that true?
It will be faster because
Okay.
your funds are going to get to the seller right away.
Okay. And you can use it for various purposes as well. I mean, right? I mean, obviously the purpose would be to do that, but what else could you use this bridge loan for?
Well, if you have enough equity and you're not using all of the funds for your down payment, you can do needed repairs to your home because sometimes you need to do something to make your house more sellable. So if you
Okay.
needed to help with landscaping or repaint the home or, just do some touch ups in a bathroom just to make it more appealing to a buyer, you can use the funds for that as well.
Oh,
And
nice.
sometimes
Okay.
you have debt where you need to pay it down and use it for lowering your debt to income ratio in that way. That's another way to utilize it.
Perfect. Okay. Good. Okay. And then making competitive offers. I mean, again, if you don't have to put in a contingency to sell your home, I mean, that's just like, hey, I got cash, let's go, kind of, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it really helps a lot because you don't have to say, hey, I have to sell my house in order to do this. So there's another contingent. I mean, sellers don't like contingencies. They want it as usually as super and easy as possible. I mean, unless you find somebody who, a neighbor or something who, hey, Nikki, I trust you. I'm gonna, I'll work with you on it. But most sellers, if there's multiple offers coming in, you're not going to get the house with a contingency.
Yeah. And then we can, again, close it very quickly. If somebody knew that they wanted to start the home buying process, they could get the home bridge loan in place before they even start shopping. And so then we can go to the pre-approval. That's basically the full underwritten pre-approval, and then close in as little as 7 days. So if we have the
Wow.
funds, if we have that payment negated, if that's all you need, then we're able to do that basically cash approved loan and move you through the process in 7 days or less. Or no, it can't be less.
7 days is
7 days
amazing. That
on
would
the
be the fastest close.
yeah, yeah. I was going to say the 7 days has to be in place because there are certain days that need to be counted for the loan estimate, for the closing disclosure to be issued. So 7 days is the minimum amount of time that we can close a
Okay.
loan.
That's still very fast. And that would look
It is.
really, really good to a lot of sellers. You want to do it this fast? I'm on it. So
Exactly.
that's a really good thing. It sounds like a great product to have. I mean, and there's a few negatives. I mean, just, but again, if you think your house is going to sell super fast and you can get rid of that, that would be a fabulous, in my opinion, fabulous product to use. Okay.
Exactly.
Continue.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Kerri.
All right. So I think, basically, you just want to seize those market opportunities, like it says, and
Yep.
just it can save you money in the long run if you are having to keep your home on the market for a long period of time. If you have to stay in the game a little bit longer. And so that makes it so that the housing market starts to go up. And so the prices of the homes are increasing. So it can save money in that way for sure.
So especially some of the higher dollar amount homes now, right? Because those are the ones that are really, I mean, kind of sitting on the market a little bit longer. It seems like the smaller ones are going quickly, right?
Yes, they are. And a good thing too is that if you can close in a shorter period of time, sometimes that offer, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Nikki, but that offer could make you more competitive than something that maybe they're offering over asking price, but they need a longer close time.
Yeah,
So the situation is just all dependent on the seller and what they're looking for. So
right.
sometimes it's a little sweeter to have a faster closing versus a higher sales price.
Perfect. Okay, that sounds great. Okay. And let's talk about eligibility. How are you eligible? I mean, like I said, we talked about a little bit about being as maybe a smoother process to get approved this way and to make the whole process. What are the eligibility requirements to do this?
So you definitely have to be a credit-worthy borrower. They do have more strict credit score requirements because it's a big risk that the company that's doing this loan is taking on. So they want to make sure that you're a person that makes your payments on time, that you're reliable. And of course, you have to make sure you have enough equity in your home too. That's the important key part. So if you are just barely going to be, making the payoff on the home from the equity in your home, this is not going to be a good fit for you because there's nothing really to work with.
Okay.
So, yeah.
If you have I mean, the prices, I mean, like we bought our house a long time ago. So obviously we've got some equity in our home. And, if you have how high does a credit score have to be? Do you know on that? Is there a certain limit or is it?
Depends on the companies, but most of them, the starting place is about 700.
Okay. I was going to say
Yeah.
720-ish. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. That sounds really good. I mean, it sounds like, I mean, if you've been in your home a while, this might be a great product for you if you're looking at moving to go check out. And okay, perfect. All right, you guys, I think that's it. We just had
Good one.
yes, we had a lot of information there. Again, if you have questions or anything, make sure you go ahead and put them into the chat box on any of the sites, and we do look at them and respond to them. We would love some questions. If you've got a topic that we haven't addressed or that we haven't touched on before, or even if we touched on before, but you want to know more information, put a note in there. We'd love to talk to you and see if we can get those questions answered for you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and follow button, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.